Are you ready for this?
Kylie Cosmetics. I want to talk about this brand because I find it just so interesting the way it was extremely popular in 2017. I think it was 2017, maybe it was 2015. But it was around that time. And how seemingly unpopular it is right now. I don't know if it is still popular with the demographic that was around 16 to 22 at the time of the peak of the brand. So people who are, in their late 20s. I'm not sure if it's still popular with the demographic, but to me it seemed like they definitely fell off, and I don't really see them that much, and I don't really think of them. When I tell you that they used to be popular, I really mean that, and I'm sure that a lot of you remember it. The lip kits were so popular a few years ago that they sold out in minutes, if not seconds, when they dropped, and it was all because of Kylie and her lips. She got them done, obviously, we all know that, and then she started wearing nude lipsticks, and it was kind of like this new wave of wearing matte lipsticks in the same way as people were wearing them in the 90s. Because of all of those trends merging together, Kylie definitely was the image of the Instagram makeup look. She was fitting the wave of what was popular at the time, so of course she could sell a lot of units of product. When lip kits were sent to buyers, because it was an online store, oftentimes people were getting their lip kits without the actual lipstick and pencil inside because they were stolen in the delivering process somewhere along the way, basically. Because at the beginning, Kylie Cosmetics had their own outside shipping box that said Kylie Cosmetics on it, and they had to change it because so many of their products were stolen in the delivery process. I think that some of her lip glosses were popular with some people. I'm not 100% on that, to be honest. The only reason why I think that they were popular is because of Michaela Long. I watched her videos, I still do, but back then she was doing a lot of videos about the lip kits or about the lip glosses and stuff like that. So I think that they were popular too, the same way as lip kits were. Maybe not on the same level, but they were still popular. And I think that the most fascinating thing about this brand is just how little longevity it actually had and how unstable their brand turned out to be after just a few years, really. What happened? Why is this brand, if you look at their engagement right now on Instagram, for example, why did they fall off so quickly? Even though Kylie Jenner is still in the tabloids or on your feed, she still pulls in at least some type of attention. I guess it's not really always positive, especially with her partner and his whole Astroworld debacle. It really hit her business in terms of customers. But there has to be a reason, right? It can't just be the fact that the lip kits are not as popular anymore, because she had the chance to establish her brand for a few years. Why didn't it work? The engagement rate right now is 0.09% out of all the people who follow that brand on Instagram. To be fair, most brands have very low engagement rate. I would say that it's not uncommon, but for the size of the brand and the fact that this brand is not mainly in store but mostly online, you would expect the engagement to be higher, at least on the level of brands like Nike or something like that. Well, first of all, the style of makeup that this brand went for is very much Instagram baddie from 2017. Not a popular aesthetic anymore. No one wants to wear liquid lipsticks that are really crusty on your lips after like 2 hours of wear. They don't wear off in a pretty way. They kind of peel off and they leave like really weird patches and stuff like that. They don't leave a stain or like a little bit of a faded color or anything like that. It's just not a type of lipstick that you can wear for the entirety of the day and it looking kind of decent. I'd rather reapply, and I think that a lot of consumers right now would rather reapply the lipstick a million times throughout the day, but it looks prettier and feels better on the lips than something like a lip kit. If you don't really like to wear a lot of makeup, you go for the clean girl aesthetic. By the way, don't like the name of this aesthetic at all. I don't know, something about the word is just weird to me. I don't know what it is. I'm trying to rationalize it. I don't know if I actually have a rational explanation as to why I dislike it. Just something about it irks me slightly, and I don't know what it is. If you have any theories, if you feel the same way as I do about the word and like you just kind of not into it and you think that this aesthetic is just a repackaged minimalism look, let me know. I feel like it's kind of a Glossier look, but at the same time Glossier is kind of not, they're not being heavily featured in a lot of videos about this clean girl aesthetic and stuff like that, which is really surprising to me. I guess there has been some kind of shift in terms of Glossier, but I don't know. Let me know. Basically, the brand actually tried to adjust. They went from appealing to a consumer that wants to wear Kylie Cosmetics, Jeffree Star Cosmetics and stuff like that, because you know, if you were buying Kylie, you were probably buying Jeffree at that time. The consumer is kind of moving away from both, and Kylie tried to adapt. She tried. So in July of last year, Kylie rebranded Kylie Cosmetics. They decided to delete or archive all of the posts that they had on their Instagram and release a new photo shoot that suggests a different aesthetic. They basically made a new packaging for everything and focused on the fact that it's a vegan, clean,
so juicy and supple and also gentle and very clean
type of makeup. Now, in my opinion, they definitely did not get that much attention as a brand of this size should have. It seems like it kind of went under the radar. It might be because the beauty industry, the makeup industry online is not doing well right now. There are no big beauty gurus that are running the show. I mean, there are still a lot of beauty gurus, obviously, and there's a lot of people who are in the beauty space, but it's just not the same as it was in 2017 when they were the top dogs of the entirety of YouTube, you know? They were the ones who had the most influence over customers with purchasing power, and they just don't anymore, mostly because of the amount of scandals that they went through. However, I still think that they should have gotten more attention because they're still big and Kylie is still getting a lot of attention too, you know? It's just really strange how little noise it made, really. She posted this new photo for the campaign and we got to see a rebrand of the packaging. So the top two images are the old packaging. What they did is they made it pink, but they kept the damn lips image, the lips with some kind of color dripping over it or whatever. They still kept it, and I think that that was actually the most outdated part of the packaging, to be honest, to me at least. Whenever I look at it, I think that's 2013. And the funniest part is that this packaging, when it just came out, it was already behind. I feel like it was already too old in terms of graphic design. It was already not on trend enough. With a brand like Kylie Cosmetics, they're not going for a classic look like your Bobbi Browns or Charlotte Tilbury's that are marketing towards this aesthetic of being that girl, that model off-duty kind of look or something like that, you know, or something like a professional woman wearing, you know, like an everyday makeup with a staple lipstick and whatever, you know. They were marketing towards quick trends. They were going for quick trends. They're basically kind of like fast fashion of makeup, you know. They were going for a lot of collections, a lot of output of products, and now they decided to go for a rebrand last year, and this is what they came up with. The difference is basically in the color, really. I know that they also reformulated everything and they made it vegan and whatever, but the truth of the matter is it still looks very much the same. It didn't feel like it was a real rebrand, you know, in terms of packaging. Too close. It could have done well and it could have still felt like a big rebrand and relaunch for the brand if Kylie herself had a new feel about her. In terms of her aesthetic and the aesthetic of the entirety of Kardashian clan, they try to keep up with the times, but they're definitely never quite on trend, even though that's their whole appeal, is that they're kind of following trends, right? And they're just always behind on that, especially now. I think that in 2014 she was doing really well for herself, but now her look is outdated. In this photo shoot that she posted, even though she relaunched this brand, she didn't adjust her look at all. Yes, she's wearing pink, but her makeup looks exactly the same as it looked in 2014, even though right now no one is going for that look and it doesn't sell very well. I mean, you can still target that audience if you want to. I just don't understand what is the point of relaunching then, because you're technically not changing anything about the brand, especially about your whole makeup aesthetic look, which is what you're selling. You're selling makeup, so you have to be thinking about what kind of aesthetic you're selling to people, right? Obviously, this ain't it. Products are not that good. They're not bad by any means. Like, some of them are good products, but it's just not good enough to keep people coming back specifically for the quality and being excited about new products because you are expecting quality from a brand. This company does not have its own aesthetic, their own identity outside of being a brand that Kylie started. For example, their tagline is clean, even makeup and skincare. Sure. I mean, first of all, I don't think that anybody is going to Kylie Cosmetics or Kylie Skin for skincare. Most people don't, at least, because she launched with a scandal. She launched with a scrub that had walnuts in it, and it's kind of like a very well-known fact by this point in the skincare industry that it's not a good ingredient to use in a scrub for your face. When you think about that tagline, it is way too general. It doesn't suggest what they're going for. It doesn't suggest full glam or clean aesthetic. It does say the word clean, but it doesn't have that vibe about it. You know, the wording doesn't suggest anything. It's very neutral. When you look at the about section of their website, it's also very general. It's just Kylie talking from her perspective, saying why she started this line or why she started that line and whatever. The brand is way too interconnected with Kylie to the point where if her look is not on trend, they're not going to be selling any products, or they're gonna suffer really big losses, you know? To drive my point even further and to explain what I mean by that, I want to compare it to Rare Beauty. Their tagline is makeup made to feel good without hiding what makes you unique. Their website immediately has only 3 tabs at the top. It's a very clean type of website, and by clean I mean very limited information in your field of vision when you're looking at a web page. Oftentimes when I think of Rare Beauty and their images for their products, I don't immediately think images of Selena, even though it is a brand that Selena Gomez started. I just feel like they hit that type of good balance where yes, it's Selena's brand, but she's not on everything. It doesn't feel like the entire team is her. You start to feel like it is a brand. Regardless of what role Selena is playing, you still see Rare Beauty as a beauty brand, not just Selena Gomez merch. Do you know what I mean? With their mission statement, the fact that they're saying that it's about feeling good without hiding what makes you unique, all of that kind of stuff. They have medium coverage kind of stuff, you know. I really like their products, actually. I have their foundation and their concealer, their blush. It's pretty good stuff. You know, I'm quite skeptical of celebrity brands, but this one feels really good, has good products. Another brand that kind of struck that good balance is Fenty Beauty. Also feels very much like a brand outside of just Rihanna merch, you know. It doesn't feel like you're buying Rihanna merch when you're buying a Fenty product, which contributes to the longevity of the brand. It feels like something that could withstand time instead of being just a temporary money grab. Selena, I especially like that the website and the packaging go hand in hand. Definitely really strong visual language for the brand. One of the most important things for the brand is mental health awareness. They have launched with that statement. They have launched with a pledge to always give a % of their profits to mental health awareness and stuff like that. And on their website, out of the 3 pages that you can go to from the first homepage, one of them is a mental health awareness page that talks about the project that they're working on, and it gives you resources and stuff like that. So it's very consistent, and I think that's the big difference between looking at a brand like Kylie Cosmetics that doesn't have anything at its core aside Kylie herself as an image, and a brand like Rare Beauty or Fenty Beauty that have a visual language that is very strong outside of the person who started it or whose celebrity power was fueling the ship at the very beginning. Do you see what I mean? In any case, to me it seems like Kylie is not a very strong brand, strong enough to push some units of products, sure, but I don't think that her business approach is very sustainable. It seems like she's not quite... She seems a little bit clueless in terms of what she's doing, which is, I mean, it's not, she's quite young, so I understand why that's the case, but I do think that she maybe needs to hire a better team if she wants her businesses to stay afloat for a while without her constant contribution to it in terms of campaign images and stuff like that. If she wants it to be a stable business, she needs to hire some other people, to be honest. In any case, let's get Rare Beauty to sponsor me. Because I would work with them. They're kind of cute or whatever, and I like the mental health stuff. Let me know if you're still interested in Kylie Cosmetics, if you were interested in the past. You know, if you want me to talk about it further or expand or anything, or answer or, you know, react to any hot takes or something like that about this topic, leave them in the comments and tell me that you want me to talk about it in the podcast, and I will address it in the podcast. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!